How's it going? Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me? How's it going? Welcome back. So obviously I'm going to be talking about server-side Swift with Vapor. My name's Bryan. So to kind of get it started, I got an iOS a long time ago, and I found out, pretty quickly that about 95 to 99% of apps require some kind of API service, whether they're calling an API or your connection to your own internal APIs. And I remember when I was working on stuff, I started Objective-C, of course, and there was one kind of thing that bothered me. Is like I didn't know how to work with any of the APIs or connect to a server. And the issue I came up with was we were working on this app, and I needed a back-end piece changed. Like I needed another endpoint added, and then I needed some data changed. And this is before like Swift and Codable, so it's really easy on our end now to change stuff and map it to whatever the server's giving you. And so I walked over to the back-end team, and I was like, "Hey guys, I need you to change this." And they like shrugged their shoulders, like, "I'm busy. I can't do this." And it was really frustrating because it's like I had to block my feature, and I couldn't really do anything until this was done. But they were really busy, to be fair. So then I came across server-side Swift, and it was just something that I already knew Swift. After getting into Swift, I knew Swift, and it was easy instead of jumping into a different language because there's multiple server languages you can use, and so it was nice to use something that I'm already familiar with. So what I'm going to talk about, if you haven't figured it out, is Vapor. Why you should use Vapor, a little demo, and then deploying it to production. So what is Vapor? Vapor is a web framework that is built on top of Swift. It simplifies the process using similar Swift APIs that you're already familiar with. It's great for creating API servers or even web apps, which I'll show you a demo later. So why use Vapor? The hard part, so on a server, there's so many different languages. You have PHP, you have Java, you have .NET, Node. And usually, so if you have, if you're coming from a big company or you have a big application, usually you have dedicated teams. So you'll have like a back-end team, you'll have an iOS team, an Android team, whatever these platforms are. However, when you're doing freelance work or if you're just wanting to start up a simple service, you might want to do it yourself. And so with Vapor, it kind of, it really simplifies it. It's basically just another API layer. It's like learning like UIKit or learning, core data, and it's using something you love, which is Swift, which we love now. It's really easy to build across. And so if you're going to build, an application that requires a server, it's hard to jump back and forth whether you're doing, let's say a big node. So I'm going to do a node server and then come back and build an iOS app. There's some issues there. We're going to go back and forth, and it's hard, in the software industry. It's hard to be an expert at everything. And so I kind of follow. I like the T-body, like the T-body engineer process or theory. And so basically, the top level, the top of the T is where you touch a little bit of everything. So maybe different applications, different software, and that's not your expertise. So you can touch a bunch of things, and so the core computer science principles. So you can easily pick up the languages, but then for the base of the T is actually your core, either something something you're an expert in or something you love. So in this case, I think we all love Swift since we're here. And so that's, using Vapor lets you use what you love without having to learn and maintain two different tech stacks. So, just diving right in, Vapor is really easy to set up. So basically, these are kind of like the 5 things you're going to go through. And so first, Vapor provided you with this cool, curl link that basically will check your system. You can run, make sure that everything is set up in your system what you need. So currently, you need Xcode 9. It will do Xcode 10. I'm going to actually demo an Xcode 10. And then you need to have Homebrew installed and install Vapor through Homebrew, which is going to install its command line tools. And so Vapor runs on, everything is run through command line. You're going to use Xcode to code and build the API layer and build anything you need. But you're going to use the terminal a lot to change, to actually build things. And it's kind of which I'll show you in a little bit. It's kind of a weird process when you build like an iOS app. You're going to build a new file or a new controller. You just do it in Xcode. It's kind of weird where you actually set up the terminal, build the application, it'll launch Xcode, and then you will work on your code. It'll make more sense when I go through it. And so basically the easiest thing to do is after you do a brew install to install the command line tools, you're going to just basically type in Vapor new, because you want to do a new, and then your project name, and then this name is going to create a directory for you wherever you are currently in your system. And then it's going to default to using an API, like build an API template, and so Vapor builds everything in templates, so you can reuse. It's just similar to how Xcode, you can start like a single view application or an AR application, have some basic things already built out for you. And so then the next thing you're going to, step 5 is telling Vapor to build your Xcode project. And so let's build some, let's dive in. So let's make this bigger. Can everyone see that? Okay, so I'm going to go to a workspace I already have. So basically, you're going to type out Vapor, or you're going to actually install. We can check the system, see if we have that real quick. I already have this, just to show you. So you can see here, it already ran through it. It shows everything's compatible, I have everything working. It'll tell you if anything's wrong, so you'll know what you need to do next. So I already have Vapor installed, so I'm going to skip that step. So basically, I want to create a new project. So we're going to call Vapor new, and then you're going to type in something new. So let's do Hello World, because you can't start a new programming language without a Hello World. And then, like I said, you're going to type in, you're going to specify you want to start with an API template. You can leave it empty. By default, it's going to pick API, but I like to be a little bit verbose. Oops. And then you're going to run it. The thing to know, though, here is it does take about a minute, sometimes even longer to build. I'm not going to build this. I already have one set up, so I'm going to switch over to it. And so that's kind of the only thing. And Vapor works on Swift Package Manager. And so I'll show you now. I'll show you when I open it up. And so basically what this is going to do is it's going to create a new project, download this template from Vapor's GitHub. And then, so after you do this, we're going to pretend I did this. So now, so just to show you, oops, let's bring it up. So this is what it's going to build when you do when it creates your project. This Hello World Xcode project's not going to be there yet, and so this is what whatever you specified your project name, it's going to use it for your Xcode name as well. And so with doing Vapor Xcode, it's going to build it and it's going to pull in all your dependencies from your package.swift file. So we can go ahead and build it. Shouldn't take too long. Cool. And it's going to ask you if you want to open up Xcode. Obviously I do. And so here's my application. And so, like I was saying earlier, it uses Swift Package Manager to create all its dependencies. So if you're not familiar with Swift Package Manager, you have your name for your application or the your main package, and then you have your dependencies and then your targets and what dependencies are what for what. So obviously this core one requires Vapor because you need Vapor to build it. And so the next one is, it's added for you. It's just a Swift ORM for object relational mapping for connecting to databases. So I'm gonna cover that later on. Right now we're just gonna build something simple. So the key to know though is it's gonna create all these files for you. What you really need to kind of focus on besides the package manager is the configure.swift file. And in here is basically what you're telling Vapor when you do the Vapor build or when you click on run in here. It's gonna specify all your configuration settings. So you add a database or add a certain route. This is what's gonna happen. It's gonna come in here. And so here we go. So this is the routes right here. So we're gonna actually I'm gonna demonstrate making a call like an API request. And so this is the key that kind of sets that up. Now we're just using the default engine, and it's going to be listening for these requests coming in. So in our routes file, and so here, if I were to run this real quick, so it's going to run. And the key when you click on run up here, the key here is you're going to look down below. See if you can't see that. Is to look down here. It's going to say server started on. It's going to be localhost because you're running on your machine. And so you need to make sure that's running. You see this? If you don't see this, then it's not running. And it just in case it's not running, if there's any issues, I have come across that in your scheme, basically, if you go to edit scheme, click on run on the left side, usually the executable should be run, but sometimes it will be marked as none. So if you just do none, try to run it, it'll build. Let's show it, make a change. Let's run it. It'll build it, but it won't run because it doesn't know to run that executable. So it's like it just built and that's it. So let's change that back. So my server's running. Let's go over to Postman. Obviously 404, there's nothing here because I haven't set up a route yet. So let's actually set up a route. So we're going to just do a simple hello world. So all you do, so the router is listening for the network requests, and so basically you just pass in what kind of HTTP path you need, so our method. So right now we're going to do a get, but you can do a post, you can do a normal like a delete, whatever, typical standard. So we're going to do a get. And here, now if you just do get like this, it will just grab whatever your, the base URL. So this is localhost or whatever your server's hosted on. But we're going to pass in that I want it to pick up the first thing after that. So we're going to say hello. It's going to take in a request. And then I'm just going to return a response. And technically we don't really need this. I'm just going to leave it for demonstration purposes, but we're not actually doing anything with the request at this moment. So now we're just going to run it. Go back to Postman. You guys see that? All right. Oh, I forgot. I said I put on hello. So now you see you got hello world. It responds. It's hard coded, but you got now. You technically start building your API a little bit. So let's have some more fun. Let's make it dynamic. Let's go back. Let's make another one. So we're going to do router again. It's going to be a get. We'll do it off hello again. Now this is where you can pass in like a parameter. So what we're going to, let me step back. We're going to do this. And then we're just going to print out, hello, and append whatever string you pass in. So again, you're going to do tell it to look for a get after the base URL, looking for hello, and then after that. So now we're telling it to look for the next parameter. So basically, after the next dash or forward slash. And so we're going to pass in a request. And so for this one, we are going to get some string. Let's see. So you're going to take in the request. You're going to call its parameter functions. And then you're going to say next, which is basically just going to grab the next parameter it sees. So the next one is this one. There's only one. And you're going to tell it that it's a string. So it knows what it is. And then we're just going to return it. So run it again. Oh, yeah, obvious, thinking. I actually need to tell it what it's expecting to pass because we want a string, so. Cool. And so now it's expecting the request is going to be passing back a string, so now we can actually pass back a string, not just this hard-coded one. So let's actually run this. Go back over. We saw hello world. Let's type in 360 IDEV. And now it's dynamic. Now it's building, it's just pending whatever you pass in. So you can pass in some generic stuff. Doesn't care. You can pass in, weird special characters. It's just going to append on it and act as a string. So there's a basic way to connect, make a Hello World application with a server-side Swift. But let's have some more fun. Let's actually build, a full API where you're, sending up data, you're retrieving data, you're deleting an object. So, and then I'll kind of show you how, it's really going to really work in the real world. So, what you're going to do. So this is where it's going to. I kind of mentioned earlier where it gets weird. It's a little, normally you're going to come in here, you're going to say, well, not new tab. You're going to come in here and you're going to say new file, and then you're going to specify what you want. However, the way Vapor builds everything, it needs you to specify it first outside of Xcode with terminal, or you can do it in Finder, but terminal is the better way to do it. And so let's go back over to terminal. And so what we're going to do, so everything should go in the sources file. So we're going to add in, I'm going to add a person object, and then I'm going to create a controller that's going to basically allow us to create a person, get a person, a typical like a REST API structure. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is just going to say touch, just to create a file. We're going to go to sources, should be under app, and then there should be, this is going to be a model, so it's going to be under the models. You can kind of set up however you want. This is kind of how Vapor recommends it, just to kind of keep a good structure. And so we're going to call it person.swift. Make sure to do .swift so it knows. And so it should have created it. Cool, there's a person there. Now we're going to build it again. And just to be safe, I'll close this and stop it. So it's going to be Vapor Xcode. And I did Vapor Xcode last time to build it. It asked me, yes, I want to build this, or yes, I want to open up Xcode. Obviously I do, so you can just append yes to it now as an option, and it'll automatically open it for you. So it's going to generate it. Should be pretty quick. I'm not there's nothing new with my packages. And it'll generate it and automatically open Xcode. And here it goes. So now you see in our models right here we have person. So we're going to create real quick. We need to import Vapor. Oops. Go to autocorrect or autofill. We're going to make it a struct and say person. It's going to have an ID. I'm going to make it an int for now. You might want to make it like a UDID later, but for now we're just going to do an int. We're going to say person, to have a first name, which will be a string, and then a last name, which will be a string. And then we're going to just throw an age to the front of it, do an int. So there's your person object. Oh, it's spelling's right. So now you have your person. What you need to do now is, because we're going to connect it to a database, so you can actually, interact with it, save it, and update it. So you're going to go back to your configure file, and in here, so this is where you're going to set up a database. And so we kind of jumped the gun and made the model, but now we need a database. So the default template creates this, we'll use just an SQL database. And so this is actually pretty good for development purposes because we're setting the storage to memory. You can obviously set the database to like a hardcore, like a location on your file system, or in the project settings. You can use all kinds of different databases, like MySQL, Mongo, NoSQL, whatever you like. And Vapor has all that built in for you, and so it makes it really nice. So this is already set up here. So this is cool. It's already set up. Basically, you register, you come in, you create a database configure file. For Vapor's purposes, you're going to add the database. You're going to tell it what kind it is SQLite, and you're going to register it. Now, for what you need to, for the optional object relational mapping, from your object going to the database, you need to have this. You need to set up your model for the database. So what you're going to do is you're going to call it migrations. Oh, thank you. Yes, that's definitely right. Yeah. Cool. So now you're going to add your model, which is our person. And then the database type. Which is SQLite. And then you're going to do, tell your services to register your migrations. And so now Vapor will handle all this for you with sending, anything it needs in regards for, handling and saving your person to the database. Yes, thank you. So that's what we did not add. And so now, obviously it doesn't know, it's not conforming to the migration protocol. And so we're going to go back to our person class, and we're actually going to import. So we're going to use Fluent, or SQLite. And so this makes it really easy. All you're going to do is extend your person. extend it to content as well, and this is going to allow you to send back and forth your person object through HTTP, and so you can interact with it. And so you're also now going to need the key one, which we complained about in the configure file, is the actual migration. And so by doing this, pretty simple, like that's all you have to do, and it'll handle it for you. I'm missing a few things. Just open close bracket. And that's it. You can, in here inside, you can customize it all you want, but for the most part, this is all you need. It's going to grab everything it needs and set up your database based on these keys, these properties of this object. And so it'll create the right keys in your database. So now that we have that set up, so that's all good to go. Now we need to actually make our controller so we can actually send this and see it update. So let's go back to terminal, and we're going to add. So we want to add it's here. So we're going to go into our sources again. We're going to go into app, and we're going to go into controllers, and we're going to create a person controller. Swift again. Now it should have created it. Yep, it created our person controller. It's going to be empty. Let's build Vapor again. So Vapor, Xcode. Yes, I want to open it. Oh, let's close this guy. One more time. Awesome. Yeah, the key, you got to close this, got to restart it. So, we're going to import Vapor again. I'll call it person controller, and what this is going to conform to is a router collection, or route collection. And so what you're going to do is you need to have this boot method. So, in the boot method, and here's where you're going to set up your actual methods. So you're going to say router, and you can do the router.get thing like I did earlier, and pass in a bunch of stuff. And this kind of gets really messy in here, so we're going to actually kind of simplify it and take it out. And so you're going to have router, get, and then, so we're just going to, we don't need to append anything. Well, let's append it just for fun of it. So we'll make this API. We'll just make it person for short. And then we need to tell it to use, let's call it, use our get handler. And so down here, this takes a request. And we're going to return a future, which is in Vapor is just a promise. If you guys are familiar with promises, it's basically going to call this and listen for it, and since it's going to hit a database call, it's going to return it sometime later. This is going to be fairly quick, so it shouldn't matter. We're going to pass in, we're going to pass back our person, or we're going to pass an array of persons. And so, oh, not persons, yeah. So all you're going to do is return. What's cool about this is you can just say person.query on request. We're going to tell it we want all. And that's it for that. We're going to run it. It succeeded. There we go. The server started. This is going to return nothing because I don't have any persons yet. Oops. Oh, yeah. this is going to return nothing too, because we haven't actually told the router to listen. We created this router controller, this person controller here, but we didn't actually tell our main system to listen for this guy. So let's go back into our routes. And so what you're going to do here is you can actually, instead of like blowing up this main routes, having like 10,000 lines or a bunch of stuff, it's nice to kind of break things up, and it's really clean. And so what you're going to do is say router, let's see, collection, register collection. And so this is just going to be our person controller. And since the person controller conforms to, I have to do a try. It conforms to the collection, a route collection. This is going to work perfectly. And so now we run it. We're still going to get nothing. I mean, it's going to be a blank array, but at least the endpoint will exist. Let's go back to person. So cool. We got 200. It's an empty array because we don't have any persons in our database yet. So now let's actually create the post method so we can have that. So here, let's do router.post. You can call it sort of like I'm just calling it create handler, and just adding a handler after it. And so obviously it doesn't exist. So here's our create handler. Takes in a request. I want to pass back a person because I want to know that it's created and actually pass back the full person. Just to, it's kind of nice to see. You can do stuff with it on the API level or in the UI of your app. And so here, what you're going to do. So you're going to return the person. Request. We're actually going to decode, or we're going to get the content of our request. And this is where, for the content here, this is where go back to person real quick. I extended content, and so this is where you're going to be able to interact with the content from the API level or the controller level. So now when I say content here and I pass back, I'm going to tell it to decode. It's going to know it's a person, or tell it to look for the person. And since it has the content, it's going to be able to do that for you. So you're going to flatten out, which is basically for Vapor, you're going to unwrap this person object that's coming out of this feature. And we want to tell it to do what? It's going to be, we're going to unwrap it still to a person. Pass in the person, and what you're going to do, all you have to do is say person save on your request that you're sent. Oh, I need to return it, because I want to actually return that person. And let's see, we don't need that. And what's cool, so this, with the migration piece and the database, it does this for you. So you don't have to do anything crazy. You can, with, I need to actually import the phone, that's what I'm missing. And so this handles it all for you. You can do manual calls to the database if you like, but this makes it really simple. And we'll run it real quick. Let's see. I'm missing throws. Because all these guys throw. We're going to run it. It started. So now let's change this to post. I can just put it over here. Post, localhost, 8080, our default port, person, and then for our body, we're going to do, so we're going to do first name, put Bryan. We're going to send off. Obviously, I'm looking for all these pieces, so Vapor is going to realize, hey, you didn't include last name, because that's another key you're looking for. So we're going to put in last name. It's also going to yell at us because I don't have age, so let's put in age, since I didn't make it optional. Go ahead and we're going to send it. Now created, or let's see. So now it created our person object, and it sent it back to us. Got a 200, so I know it's there in the database. If I go back to our get call. Now my array, I have an array. Just the one person in my array. So this is saved in our database. Well, it's saved in memory. So since it's saved in memory, once I run this again, it's going to actually reset it, which obviously in the real world you wouldn't want. But for developing like this is great because if you have, let's say, use MySQL or something, and you change a key, which inevitably you're going to do if you're in the middle of building. So it really kind of helps you get past that development stage, and then you can change out and add a real database, or like a hosted database that's not going to go anywhere. Cool. So now we created one, which I don't need to try here. We created one. Let's do. Let's update this person. So I'm going to do a put person. Update handler, so I'm going to call it my function, go down below, and we're going to create our update handler, takes in a request, this will throw, and then we're going to pass back the person again because we want to see our updated person. So we are going to return, try flat map. We're going to basically say we're going to become person. Request. Now we want the parameter because we need next. So this guy's going to look just like it'll be for localhost. Whatever this ID is, it's going to be 1. We only have 1 right now. So you're going to get the next person parameter. So it's complaining because it doesn't have, person doesn't, it's not conforming to the parameter protocol. So I'm just going to add it down here, the person. Right. And so now, it'll know to look for the next parameter for that object. And so it's going to look for the ID which you're going to pass in. And so let's finish off this method. Person. Actually, we need one more. So we need to decode our content coming in, which is the person. We're sending back another person, or updated person. We're going to flatten that to person again. take that. We don't need to do that. So we're going to decode it. This is we're already inside a flat map. So we got our person. And so this person is the one that's we're going to grab with our parameter. And then you're going to have our updated person, which is the one we're actually going to save, update our database with. And so here, we're going to say person to update. So it's mutable, update person. Change this to updated. So we got update person. And now from here, you're going to say person to update. We want to update first name. No, so it's going to be, sorry. We actually want to hold on the actual person object. So we're going to actually person update first name, updated person. We're going to say it's first name, and this, I made a mistake. This was actually, we have to assign this to person. And so you're going to set it to updated person, dot first name. Sorry. Let me step back, I'm confusing everybody. So this one is going to be, it's the actual updated person. So I said this right, but this one, because I'm not updating the person directly here, I'm going to let the database do that. So this is the person update, I'm updating those details. So here's updated person. And so now we're going to do person update last name equals last name, person update. We're going to do age as well, so let's update all of them. And then now what we're going to do is we want to return our person. All we're going to do is say, so person to update. We're going to call save on database on the request, which is going to send it to our database, and it'll pass it back to us. That's it for that. We're going to run it. See if I missed anything. All right, started. So again, since I reran this is going to be empty. So just to show you, there's nothing here. So we're going to create a person again. Let's create another person just to have two. Cool. Go back to person, get our get call. So now we have two people, or persons I'm calling. So two objects in here. Now let's actually update this, update one of them, because I want to change the name. So we're going to go ahead and make this a put. And let's see, localhost. It's our person endpoint. But this time we're going to pass in the ID. So let's go back to, we're going to change the first one. So we'll change my name for the fun of it. And so we're going to go back and pass in ID 1. And then in the body, we're going to tell it, so first name. Why not? Just different name. Pass in last names, we're going to change that too. Pass in age. So now we're going to send this off. So before I send it, so you see this object is Bryan, ID's 1, last name, and age 28. So we should see this change. So we're going to change. Oops, did not want to get person. Yes. So I didn't tell it to look for a parameter up here. I just told it to look for the person. So it was, the equivalent of just doing this, but you can't update anything because you need the actual ID in it. So let's put that back. Let's come back here, and we're going to actually tell it to look for that. So we're going to say person.parameter. So now it knows it'll look just, like localhost, so it'll be, So now it's going to look for person and the ID, which is 1. And which is cool because you don't have to specify that it's going to be an ID or anything by using this parameter that Vapor has built in with their Fluent package. For you use Fluent for any kind of a database that you use their font for each one. But so since we extended parameter down below on person, that's all you have to pass in. You don't have to worry about specifying what kind of thing it is. And so let's go back. So all this was good. We're going to run it. And real quick. Let's create it. We'll change this to John. And now we have John. And it's updated, and that's it. And here he is. And that's it. We built a REST API. Next step, maybe to add a delete and actually do something actually useful. This is just creating a random person object, but that's it for using Vapor. Just kind of a quick dive in on how to build an API server with Vapor. So that's it. Real quick, some great resources.